والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. باطنه فيه الرحمة وظاهره من قبله العذاب. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, it's an honor to be back here and to speak about the fada'il, the excellence of Bayt Al Maqdis. It's known to everyone here what is going on. That doesn't need to be reiterated. There is a general agreement on how we feel and how we react to the desecration of human life, the hurmah of our brothers, and the hurmah and sanctity of our brothers and sisters in Palestine as well as in other parts of the world, and the relationship that we have with the sha'air of Islam. You know, the sha'air of Islam they're very near and dear to our hearts. These symbols that we have in Islam of the Kaaba, of Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, of Bayt Al Maqdis, we hold these things close to our heart. And so if, as Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam stated, Bayt Al Maqdis will be aknafi Bayt Al Maqdis, that in Bayt Al Maqdis and in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis, there is a importance, there is a fadila. Now, fadila refers to a type of excellence, a superiority that something has that is God-given. Allah Ta'ala has given this superiority to this place. It's not because of any other reason, but Allah Ta'ala choosing this place to be a place in which once Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ayyul masjidi buniya awwalan? Which masjid was first built on this earth? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, Al-Masjid al-Haram, the Kaaba. Summa ay, Abu Dharr asked, then which masjid? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, Bayt Al Maqdis. Bayt Al Maqdis is not just something that is that we give attention to because of recent events. Our hearts are attached to that place and they will continue to be attached to that place because of what has happened there and what will happen there. The role that this place has in our history, in our spirituality, and in our eschatology, in what the role it plays in the ashrat al-sa'ah, the signs of the last hour, the role this plays in many other aspects. Then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told Abu Dharr something very unique. After Abu Dharr asked him about Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Aqsa, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told him, ثُمَّ حَيْثُمَا أَدْرَكَتْكَ الصَّلَاةِ فَصَلِّ فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْمَسْجِدِ. That wherever you are and the time of salah comes in, فَصَلِّ, pray, for that is your masjid. فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْمَسْجِدِ. So our ibadah doesn't stop. Even though Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu was asking about the initial masjids and the fadila of those initial masajid, Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Aqsa, but the ibadah doesn't stop. I see some ʿālim course students here, some hifz students. You guys know that in your books of fiqh, there's chapters that discuss what to do when the Kaaba is no longer there. There's a theory. Theoretically, obviously, waliyadhu billah, may Allah protect the Kaaba from any type of atrocity. But the ibadah wouldn't stop. If the physical place of the Kaaba were to no longer be there, we would still pray. We will still pray in that direction. That place is still Mubarak. فَصَلِّ, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, حَيْثُ مَا أَدْرَكَتْكَ الصَّلَاةِ, wherever salah catches you, pray. فَصَلِّ, that will be your masjid. But Bayt Al Maqdis holds a special place in our heart, and it has fada'il, being the second masjid on this earth, being one of the three masjids that we would take up journey for. لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى ثلاثة مساجد. You should not take up journey to travel to any masjid except for three. Al-Masjid al-Haram, Masjidi Hada, wa Masjid al-Aqsa. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, my masjid, Masjid al-Haram, and Bayt Al Maqdis, and Masjid al-Aqsa. These are the places where if you were to take up journey just for traveling to that masjid and to pray, these are the only three places that you would do that for. That type of journey, that type of excellence is captured in this Mubarak place. Yeah. You know, so the place is Mubarak, and it has been Mubarak, and it will remain Mubarak. There's a sanctity to those places that will remain. You know, when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he would pray when he would face the Kaaba in Mecca, he would face the Kaaba in a specific way in which he would pray towards the Kaaba and towards Masjid al-Aqsa. He would face it in a particular way, that he would be facing both the Kaaba and Masjid al-Aqsa so that he could pray towards both qiblas, because that was the qibla of the previous ummah. And so when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made hijrah, when he made hijrah to Medina Munawwara, he had this longing for the qibla to be changed to the Kaaba. But for 16, 17 months he prayed in the direction of Bayt Al Maqdis. He prayed in the direction of Bayt Al Maqdis. And then the ayat came, turning Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from Bayt Al Maqdis to Masjid Al Haram. So this Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave this place importance. It has an historical importance because of what Allah Ta'ala has granted this place. Ubadat ibn Samit radiyallahu anhu, you guys have, I'm sure, heard of his name. He is a Ansari Sahabi. He's one of those Sahaba that's buried by Bayt Al Maqdis. There are a few Sahaba that transitioned to Bayt Al Maqdis and they lived their lives there and they are buried there. Ubadat ibn Samit is one of those Sahaba. It states about him that one day, رؤيا وهو يجلس على شرقي بيت المقدس, على سور بيت المقدس الشرقي, that he was once seen sitting on the eastern wall of the sanctuary. He was sitting on the eastern wall, and وهو يبكي, and he was weeping, he was crying. And so someone asked him, Ya Aba Walid, Ya Aba al-Walid, ma yubkik, why are you crying? And he says, Ha huna akhbar al-Nabiy sallallahu alayhi wa sallam annahu ra'a jahannam. It was here on the eastern wall of Bayt Al Maqdis that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that he saw Jahannam. He saw Jahannam. The unseen was made seen to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And so at the initial, at the beginning of this talk, I recited an ayah from Surah Hadid, which speaks about tells us something that is going to happen on Qiyamah. يوم يقول المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. That the day of judgment is called Yawm al-Fasl. There will be divisions that will be drawn. There will be Muslims categorized here. There will be disbelievers will be separated from them, and a distinction will be brought. But the munafiqun, who were the hypocrites, they portrayed themselves as Muslims. And so they are trying to attach themselves to the Muslim camp on Qiyamah. It will be shown that they are going to try and attach themselves to the Muslims. And so it will be said to them, they will be saying, "Unzuruna naqtabis min nurikum." They'll say to the believers, "Wait for us. Let us capture your nur. Naqtabis min nurikum. Let us capture your nur." What is that nur? That nur is your ibadah. It will manifest on that day. That nur is your tilawah of the Qur'an. That nur is your dhikr. That nur is your dua. It will manifest on that day. It will be the only guiding light that you will have. That ibadah will be the only guiding light that you will have. And so the munafiqun who didn't fit the premise for their ibadah to become nur, because they didn't believe. It was all a show. There was hypocrisy within. And so they stated, نَقْتَبِسْ بِالنُّورِكُمْ. Let us take some of your nur. قِيلَ ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. They'll be, go back, try and go back to this world and seek your nur there. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ. And so a wall will be erected between them. فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. On one side of the wall will be utter rahmah, and the other side, extreme adhab. That wall is the wall of Bayt Al Maqdis. That wall, that Wadi Jahannam, is that wall in Bayt Al Maqdis. Right? Amr ibn al-As and Ubadah ibn Samit state that this wall is going to be the wall that is in Bayt Al Maqdis, that has a role for Qiyamah. That Allah Ta'ala will bring that. بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. This is the fadail of Bayt Al Maqdis. The fadail of Bayt Al Maqdis is not linked with the world of the seen. You have to believe in the unseen. What makes you a Muslim? What makes you different from anyone else who cares about the people of Palestine? What makes you different from the other individuals that may write to their congressmen? Not saying that you shouldn't do that. You can do that as well. That go for protests. You can do that as well. But what makes you different? It's your belief in the unseen. It's your belief in Qiyamah. It's your belief in what happens in Bayt Al Maqdis, the presence of the angels, what has happened there and what will happen there. That's what differentiates you from the average Joe. So you can go for protesting, you can write to your congressman, and you should. But if you're doing that at the cost of forfeiting your priorities, then beware. Then be careful not to fall into hypocrisy, not to be on the other side of that wall that will be resurrected from Bayt Al Maqdis. بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِهِ الْعَذَابِ. So Ubadah ibn Samit is the Sahabi who's sitting there on that wall, and he is crying because he knows that Ubadah ibn Samit was an Ansari Sahabi. And if you know your seerah and your history, you know that Aus and Khazraj, the two tribes in Medina, were warring tribes for generations. Ubadah ibn Samit is a Sahabi. He was from the Sahaba that was partook in the Bayt Al-Aqabah, in that allegiance to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because he knew there was no other route to come out of this worldly adhab of back and forth years of fighting except through the da'wah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That was the key. So he saw that and he captured that. These are the fadail of Bayt Al Maqdis. The fadila is in the unseen. It is God-given and it will remain there. That is why, some of the same fadail that are mentioned about Hajj, Umrah, Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and Masjid al-Haram are also the same fadail and virtues and excellence that is mentioned for Bayt al-Maqdis and Masjid al-Aqsa. That if one prays salah there, for the sake of praying salah there, كَيَوْمٍ وَلَدَتْهُ أُمُّهُ, right? That his deeds are, his misdeeds, his mistakes are forgiven. And he is like the day that his mother gave him birth, free from sin. That if a person prays in Masjid al-Aqsa, his salah is it is multiplied, like it is multiplied in Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Nabi. And so it's through ibadah, you as Muslims, especially you as students of this madrasa, right? As students, individuals who care about the Qur'an, who give your day and night to this, to learning about Islam, to learning about Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What do you offer to the world in terms of khair that is different from anybody else? فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Vie with one another in these khairat. Right, so what is the khairat that you can offer? It is your ibadah. It is through the mode and medium of ibadah that you can change this world. There is extreme shar, extreme evil and filth that is going on in that part of the world. And if you bring down khair from the heavens, through your recitation of the Qur'an, through your dhikr, through your dua, you are countering that evil. You are countering that shar. It is through that. Do not consider this to be something like haphazard. There is a system to your dua. And you should take advantage of that. To seize this opportunity and take advantage of it. We as Muslims must seize the opportunities that are present before us. A person once asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that, "Udu Allah an yaj'alani min ahli shafa'atik." O Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, make dua for me that I am amongst those who receive your intercession on Qiyamah. وَمُرَافَتَكَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ, and that I receive your friendship and companionship in Jannah. This person came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam wanting to be with Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Jannah. And so Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him, a'inni bi kathrati sujud. I can make dua for you, but dua, you have to help me by performing abundant sajda. You have to, dua is a vehicle. You want your dua to rise, it must be coupled with something. It must be coupled with fuel. You want your dua to rise, but you are doing everything that is contrary to your dua. You cannot make dua and commit sin at the same time, thinking that your dua will be accepted. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is essentially telling him, help me help you. If you want your dua to rise, you have to help me help you. You have to perform sajda. You have to have your salah in order. You have to have your Qur'an in order. You as students of the Qur'an, no one is forcing you to be here. Right? Students of deen, no one is forcing you to be here. But there are conditions upon you. If you choose this route of being a student of the Qur'an, if you choose the route of being a talib al-ilm, you put conditions upon yourself. When Musa alayhi salam went to seek the knowledge from Khidr alayhi salam, Khidr alayhi salam had certain stipulations. And when Musa alayhi salam couldn't fulfill those stipulations, Khidr alayhi salam departed. Khidr alayhi salam didn't need Musa alayhi salam to be in his company. This madrasa, deen in of itself, doesn't need you. Right? It's a reality check for you. The deen doesn't need you. You need the deen. And if you observe the deen the way it was meant to be observed, if you want to remember the fada'il and mention the dhikr of Bayt Al Maqdis, then have your priorities in order. You cannot tell me you're going to go to a protest, especially as Tullab al-Ilm. You cannot tell me you're going to go to a protest and miss Fajr Salah. You cannot tell me that you are going to write to your congressman and then you miss your sabakh, or your sabakh mara, or your amukhta, or you don't observe mutala, taqrar, and hudur. You cannot get your priorities in order. Then you can care about Bayt Al Maqdis in the way that it should be cared about. It is through this medium of ibadah, through what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has given us, that is supra-rational. It is above your intellect. You cannot comprehend what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has given you. So seize this opportunity. The opportunity is here for you to grasp. I mentioned this to some of you before in terms of, there's an idiom and a parable in Arabic called sabaqat biha ukasha. So ukasha beat you to it. And it stems from a sahabi who took an opportunity that was present before him. Ukasha radiallahu anhu, he was one day sitting with Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is speaking about individuals. He's telling him about what Jibreel alayhi salam told Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is in the world of the unseen. And Jibreel alayhi salam is telling Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that there will be a group of your ummah. There will be a group of your ummah that will enter into Jannah bighayri hisab. And so Ukasha saw this as an opportunity, and he stood up and he asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Udu Allah an yaj'alani minhum ya Rasulullah. O Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ask Allah, make dua for Allah to make me one of those 70,000 who enter into Jannah bighayri hisab. And so Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allahumma ja'alhum minhum, that you are amongst them. Allah makes dua. I make dua for you, and you are amongst those individuals that enter into Jannah bighayri hisab. Another person stood up and he asked for the same thing. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to him, Sabaqat biha Ukasha, that Ukasha beat you to it. Right? He saw an opportunity and he beat you to it. And so there are opportunities for you in ibadah that you may consider to be mundane. Opportunities that arise in tahajjud, opportunities that arise after fajr, opportunities that arise at times of acceptance. You must take advantage of those moments. And in those moments, make dua for the people of Bayt Al Maqdis wa aknafi Bayt Al Maqdis and the surrounding areas. They will continue. Right? This is, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us, years ago, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam prophesied this. لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الدين ظاهرين ولعدوهم قاهرين. That there will continue to be a group of my ummah that will be steadfast on this deen. على الدين ظاهرين ولعدوهم قاهرين. And they will use their efforts against their enemies. They will overpower their enemies. لا يضرهم من خالفهم إلا ما أصابهم من لأواء. Nothing will afflict them. Their tawakkul will remain, their steadfastness will remain, their reliance upon Allah Ta'ala will remain. But they will have to deal with some difficulty. إلا ما أصابهم من لأواء. Some difficulty they will have to deal with. Difficulty of life, difficulty of strife, they will have to deal with. So Sahaba asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Aynahum ya Rasulullah, where will these people be? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam stated, Bi Bayt Al Maqdis wa bi aknafi Bayt Al Maqdis. These people will be in Bayt Al Maqdis and in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis. This is something Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us many years ago, that this strife will continue. And that if you do not have hope you do not believe in the life of the grave, you do not believe in the life of the hereafter, then what comes through really puts you in a dark place and makes you hopeless. But Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam came with hope. He came with targheeb. He instilled within these individuals that if they believe in something greater than what is just before their eyes, something that is just tangible to them, they believe in the other world, then itmi'nan and sukoon will come into their hearts. Tranquility and peace will seep into their souls. But if someone who does not believe in Bayt Al Maqdis, the hurmah in Bayt Al Maqdis, the unseen that happens within Bayt Al Maqdis. So when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says that who will these people be? We want to be amongst them. That طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي عَلَى الدِّينِ ظَاهِرِينَ وَلِعَدُوِّهِمْ قَاهِرِينَ. We want to be amongst them. But we're not physically there by Bayt Al Maqdis. We're not in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis. We're on the opposite side of the world. But spiritually, there's a connection that puts us there. Right? Spiritually, there's a connection that puts us in that realm. Right? When we heard the reciter recite from Surah Al-Isra, and you think about that moment in which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam traversed from Mecca to Bayt Al Maqdis, you put yourself, when you recite those ayahs, you put yourself in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis. When you remember the Sahaba and their struggle, and the ones especially that are buried there near Bayt Al Maqdis, Ubadat ibn Sadmit, Shaddad ibn Auf, and other Sahaba radiallahu anhum who are buried there. The moment you say radiallahu anhum wa radu an, you put yourself bi Bayt Al Maqdis wa bi aknafi Bayt Al Maqdis. You put yourself in those surroundings areas. The moment you remember Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in his Isra, in his journey, Jibreel alayhi salam told him that this is the qabr of Ibrahim, of your father Ibrahim alayhi salam. The moment you remember him in your durood sharif, in Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, kama sallayta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim, the moment you say those words, you put yourself in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis. The moment you remember Isa alayhi salam, and he was born in Bayt Laham, in the surrounding areas of Bayt Al Maqdis, and you know that he plays a role in Bayt Al Maqdis and in the Qiyam al-Sa'ah, in his second coming. The moment you say these words and you say alayhi salam, you put yourself in that area. So do not be so simple-minded, thinking that the world is just the scene. The fadail of Bayt Al Maqdis will remain with you. If you believe and act through the mode and medium of ibadah, the fadail of Bayt Al Maqdis will remain with you. In this world, it will give you itma'nan and sukoon. In your qabr, it will be a means of light for you. And on that day of judgment, when that ضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ, when that wall is raised from Bayt Al Maqdis, when that wall is raised, you want to be on the side بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. Do not want to be on the side وَظَاهِرُهُ مِنْ قِبَلِ الْعَذَابِ. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.